Best free-to-play game of the year.
That's right, Greg. We are here to determine the best free-to-play game of the year at Shacknews.
It's a toughie. This is probably gonna take a while.
God, I hope it does.
This will be real quick. 45 minutes later.
Damn it, Greg, you jinxed it. I was trying to do the you broke it.
I don't even know where to start with this because there's
I'll start.
Michael Scott.
The year was 2020.
Oh boy.
Dun, dun.
Psionic Studios has been acquired by Epic Games. Epic Games Store continues to piss off people by existing. And in an effort to maybe piss people off even more, Psionic Studios brings Rocket League to Epic Games Store. But wait! They make it free on every platform. And in doing so, completely redesign how purchasing of in-game items work. But they have increased their player base so much by doing this. This is a 5-year-old game that has more people playing it than ever before. And that's even before this happened, it was already setting records for itself. You know, like lifetime records of concurrent players. But this just threw gasoline on the fire. And Rocket League is, without a doubt, the best free-to-play game I've played this year. It's the game I have the most hours in this year. And you don't need to buy anything to have a good time playing it. And to me, that's super important for a free-to-play game.
I'd argue against the player count thing, and that every game that goes free to play experiences the same boost, and there's no material difference in game availability for Rocket League since there were already 100,000 people at any given time before it went free, because they introduced crossplay years before.
there are certain games that are rescued from the brink by going free to play.
Oh yeah, for sure.
No, this was not a game that was in any dire straits. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that you went from 100,000 concurrents to 1 million. And as an esport, that's hugely important. This game has become, now with this move, it's become one of the largest esports in the world. And I think that's the other thing that happened with the decision to go free to play.
But the RLCS was already in full swing prior to the, I don't see how the free to play materially affected that either.
You don't see how getting more players is going to...
I'm not saying that more players is not worse, or is worse. It's just, I don't see how it made any material change in the way the game plays or how good it is or anything.
Because there's people who can't afford games that are playing it now. There's people that... I literally have friends that weren't playing Rocket League that are now.
But it also started its life being free for a month where 12 million people grabbed it. And it's, well, yeah, but it's also been free on Steam multiple times.
Okay.
I mean, the argument that people are too poor to experience the joy until now is, I mean...
True.
The game sold 100 million copies.
Going free to play in a year when, I don't know, 80% of employed people lost their jobs or whatever, something ridiculous. You know, yeah, I think that there were people that could not afford Rocket League that now are playing it. And
I can tell you
a whole generation of kids that probably weren't playing Rocket League that are now.
It had an impact.
From an esports perspective, that builds generational talent that's going to be in your scene, that goes beyond the fact that this game it has more people playing it now than ever in the history of its life. 5 years after release speaks to how important this is.
Speaking of games that might, oh, sorry, Bill, go ahead.
I've got friends that, whether it's been free earlier on or not, or whether it, I think I got it on PS Plus at one point for nothing, or a couple bucks on Steam or something like that. But just the fact that I've kind of my gaming group of people, and I mean Austin and Blake, I think you've even played with some of my friends. These are people that wouldn't have the game if it wasn't free to play in 2020. There are people that are playing the game now because it is free, and they're playing it with their kids because it's free. And I do think that that's noteworthy. Even if it's been accessible at other points, I still think it's noteworthy that it's more accessible now. I have more friends playing Rocket League now than I've ever had before. and cross-play wherever they want as well. Like I know that cross-play is not new. The going free to play has had an impact, even if it's not necessarily just like strictly on big player counts and things like that. Like personally, I played Rocket League this year with people that I wouldn't have played with because it's free.
I think those are valid arguments, but I also, especially Asus, like I think this is, I would say it will cause the biggest impact in the esports scene. I mean, jumping from 100,000 to a million concurrent, a good percentage of those I would think will go on to play it professionally in some capacity and keep this game going. Especially in this day and age, a game 5 years and on, especially in esport, is impressive. But I also see where Chris is saying, just subjectively, I think of, and this is again just me, I favor new games for a category like this. And Genshin Impact really stuck out to me because, as people have said before, you're not really compelled to spend, even though they do have stuff in your face. Mortal Kombat 10 did that, which is one of the many things that annoyed me about that game. I remember the first time I booted Mortal Kombat 10, a $60 AAA game, and I felt like I was looking at a mobile interface with ads and banners and stuff anywhere. But Genshin is like a substantive story-based video game where I could get like 30 plus hours out of it without paying.
I'm going to stop
dime.
you right there. 30 plus hours. I've played Rocket League for months.
I know. But
months. And you can play this game forever and still not be at your best. It doesn't cost a dime. Whereas Genshin Impact, you hit 30 to 50 hours, and then you got to start shelling out money.
That remains to be seen. I see what you're saying there.
Free-to-play game design, you have an endpoint at which you do need to shell out money versus not.
I don't think anyone has said that is an explicit requirement, though. That maybe that happens. I don't know. I haven't hit that point yet. But also, like, with as successful as this game's going to be, it's possible we'll still be talking about it and the absolutely free, engaging content 5 years from now. You know, like it's very possible.
I'll bet you a taco we're not talking about Genshin Impact 5 years from now.
I could do a taco. We'll bet a taco.
I'll take that bet too.
I'll take that taco bet.
All right.
So there's you heard it. Taco
right.
bet. We're not going to be talking about Genshin Impact by then.
I'm with Asif. I've got a taco on that. Hold on.
Oh, you're piling on my side?
Yeah.
4-2 taco odds.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you want to talk about like games that are having impact on an esport we gotta talk about Valorant. Like coming into the first-person shooter space and just they're hanging with the big boys. Like they're not like cutting into like the Counter-Strike crowd, but it's threatening to like eat Overwatch's lunch money.
Well, I mean, you've had Overwatch League pros jumping ship over to Valorant.
They took their MVP.
Yeah.
Like he straight up said, "I'm retiring and I'm going to play Valorant." Like that's incredible in itself, and that's before even talking about like Valorant as a game, which Donovan can actually do better than I can.
Yeah, and what I think you bring up there, Ozzy, speaks to just kind of like the philosophy that Riot Games has with Valorant, that they had before that game even hit early access, was just that they wanted to be not player driven, but just, I guess, competitively driven. Like, I guess what drives so many people away from Overwatch is characters are constantly broken, or the map rotations. There's just Blizzard makes so many, like, I guess you'd say bonehead decisions with that game. And Riot Games hasn't done that yet with Valorant. I mean, obviously the game's young. It only came out in June. But it feels like every weapon tweak, every new map update, every hotfix, it feels like they're so tapped into like what their community's looking for and what genuinely makes the game a more improved experience, which is just something that's, even if the game like pisses you off at times, it's something that you can get behind, which is why I'm probably going to end up voting for it. It's fun as hell. As somebody who tried Counter-Strike and couldn't get into it, but loved Overwatch, I think it blends some of the best parts about those two games wonderfully. I think the gunplay is excellent. The agents are all great. As far as I know, it's still pretty incredibly balanced. I don't do competitive as much because I'm not that great, but it's probably the most fun I've had with a free.
When was the last time you played it?
That's when I played Valorant. It would have been November. I haven't played it this month.
Yeah.
Last month, yeah.
I played Rocket League last night.
There's been a couple updates.
It's only been 3 days in December, Asif.
Yeah,
I played Rocket League in 3 days.
That argument.
I'm just saying, like,
I don't really
it's so great Have you tried to watch Valorant, David? Have you watched a round of that? You're complaining about how long our deliberations are taking. It's like, you ever have a dump where your feet fall asleep? That's a round of Valorant.
Okay, but at the same time,
Wait.
Valorant.
I haven't complained about how long the deliberations are taking. It's the interim between deliberations.
The waiting rooms. But my point is, play the game, watch the game. God, is it boring?
Yeah, but you can say that about Overwatch
that's
too.
Subjective.
Yes,
man.
I did
That's
say that.
subjective. You know what?
Overwatch.
Honestly, I can't stand Rocket League. I think Rocket League is boring.
I was gonna say I don't watch competitive Rocket League. I think our CLS is boring as hell too. But I mean,
RLCS doesn't really get intense until like playoff time.
I think there are some games that are funner to watch than play and vice versa, and some are both. I mean, like if you don't know anything about a game, it can be hard to watch. I think if you're really into it, it can be fun to watch if you know the ins and outs and how the game works. But yeah, I mean that's just the problem with any esport game, really.
Yeah,
you would
gotta
readily
have like
admit that you probably enjoy watching Hearthstone more because of your knowledge of the game, right?
absolutely.
So,
I will
would
never
say that
I
if
will
you
never
don't-
try and sell anybody
Listen,
on
I would say,
watching
like,
Hearthstone.
if you suck at Rocket League, you're probably not going to enjoy watching it. If you suck at Valorant, you're probably not going to enjoy watching it. But as someone who's watched esports for years, even games I don't play, I like watching Dota 2. I suck at that game. I don't even enjoy playing it. But high-level Dota 2, I can look at that and be like, wow, high-level Rocket League is unbelievable.
I will say there is probably nothing better in esports than high-level Rocket League. I will give you that.
High-level Valorant is not that engaging to me.
But we haven't really seen the best of Valorant.
Oh,
I don't
that's the
think.
thing,
Like,
too.
it's still like too new.
What I think so and interesting about Valorant right now is that Riot isn't even putting money behind it from an esports perspective. It's community.
They have a tournament going on right now.
They're just now
running
getting
one right
It's
now.
always a partner with someone else.
They're running the one right now.
they're just now getting into it. That was
I think they're having one right now as we're deliberating.
Like their
During the wide
first-
world of electronic sports.
Their first thing, right?
Yeah,
they
actually like began a league.
Up until this point, there have been dozens of Valorant tournaments this year, and they didn't spend $1 for any of them. So, like, I'm saying that speaks to what a free-to-play game can mean for an esports scene. That you get organic growth from the community of these tournaments. So, I agree. Like, a lot of what they've done seems to be working. But boy, do I not enjoy watching it. I'm just saying.
I think.
We want to talk about a game that we probably enjoy playing. I guess that's as good a segue as any to start getting into Spellbreak.
Spellbreak, yeah.
I really liked Spellbreak. I don't like battle royales, but I liked Spellbreak.
You just
Spellbreak is really good. It just kind of came out of nowhere.
As somebody who's just like kind of over the whole battle royale shooter thing, having a magic battle royale, that's pretty cool. That's a cool idea.
That is a good idea.
Having classes in that battle royale, right, gives you that sense of identity. You know, like I like that's a good, cool thing too.
Not only that, but like there's more emphasis on teamwork. Like in a battle royale game, you gotta mind your positioning and like team shoot. But in Spellbreak, kind of like with Genshin Impact, the elemental types work together, fuse together. Like a fire cloud will turn into a poisonous fire cloud if you and your mate are both, one's rocking fire, other one's rocking the toxic. It winds up being chaotic and intense, and unlike other battle royales where there's that lull in the middle, it's just kind of the matches drag on too long. It's quick, you're in, you're out. I had a blast playing it.
That is one of the biggest weaknesses of all battle royales. It's like if you do well, it feels like such a drag to go all the way to the end and lose sometimes.
Like TJ, you reviewed Hyperscape earlier this year, and you want to talk about a game that drags.
Yeah, where's that nomination at?
It's dead in the water, gone. I don't want to talk about it. Burn that game
If
to
your
ashes.
battle royale drags in the middle, it's
Smear it
because
from
you're
the
hunting down
annals
people
of
to
history.
So there's one nomination that was my favorite free-to-play game this year, but I won't vote for it, and I think most of us can understand why. It was the Super Mario or Mario 35.
It's not free.
Well, no, I guess it's not free because you need
free.
Nintendo
It
Online.
costs money. Not free.
Okay,
Overruled.
fine. I withdraw. I don't really.
You're
Okay,
like,
let's go.
whatever.
Yeah,
Like, whatever.
honestly,
you don't
what?
care about free-to-play games, and you don't.
No,
care
I
about
do.
Rocket
I do. I don't care about Rocket League
You're
at
gonna
all.
vote for Genshin because you like waifus. this.
So here's
Oh,
something
no,
that I
no, no,
wanna
no, no,
bring
no.
up.
Wait, that's so disingenuous and reductive. I hope you're not
Obviously.
being serious, okay? Like, it's Genshin. I think that's a legitimately good game. But I actually think your argument so far about the Rocket League's impact on esports has a lot of merit. Like, I didn't consider that. And I think, like, that is hugely important considering that, like, esports is just getting bigger every single year.
But I guess my question is, why are we taking a category about free-to-play games and focusing so much on its contribution to esports when that's not even something really related to it? It's just something that Rocket League does.
It's an argument for it.
It's
but not
directly
like the
affected
argument.
by going
and
free to
that's-
play.
You don't.
That's something
a game
I
doesn't
want to.
become an esport unless people spend hundreds of hours playing it.
Yeah.
And the whole
Which they
value
have done
of a
for
free-to-play
5 straight
game-
years of Rocket League.
I'm just saying that a value of a free-to-play game is how many hours I'm going to get out of it, and
Yeah,
like how long am I going to play this game? And if there is a finite amount of time attached to it, or if the game gets boring and I stop playing it, it's not as valuable to me as a free-to-play game. That's all I'm saying.
Do you think
Right.
that? Do you give more weight to games that were always free to play, or that is going free to play like a factor at all? Would you say, Asif?
I mean,
Like Rocket League.
I understand like why Rocket League is kind of creating a commotion in this nomination category because all these other games are released this year. But I think going free to play and releasing on a new store is just as important as releasing a game.
Why is releasing on a store in itself important? I don't understand how that.
They
makes
changed
no material
everything about
difference
how
in
the game works. They
That's-
changed the entire they changed a lot. The game's very different. Hell, even the menus are in italics now. Like the game,
Oh, italics.
It's a fucking different game. It really has changed. The way that you unlock things has changed. It's a materially different game.
I honestly don't know
I
this.
disagree 100% on that. I don't.
Then tell me how it's
changing
not
the menu
different.
to italics
Tell
in
me.
Rocket League.
Don't just say you disagree. Explain exactly why it's not different.
What has happened when you're playing Rocket League that has changed from it being sold?
You're talking
at
about the
game
core
store?
gameplay has not changed.
Yeah, that's it. Because the menus look different, or the credit card is
The
processed
friend
by a
system
different
is
company.
completely different.
I will say that
Cross
when you
progression exists now.
I will say that if
That's
you're
fine.
a premium game that is going free to play, that means you are expecting to get new players, and that means you have to adjust accordingly. You have to plan out
I'm
a
not
full
saying
update.
they shouldn't have changed. I'm arguing that it made no material difference in the way the game is played or how fun it is or any of that stuff.
Yeah, I'm
I've
saying
always
it's
liked
the
Rocket
best
League.
free to
It's
play.
exactly the same as it was before it went free to play.
I'm not
It's just
talking
now
about
there's a
it
different
changing
client.
anything. I'm saying that it's now free. It's still, in my opinion, it's materially.
You just
better
said they
than every other-
materially changed the game. Like
It
that's
is.
what I'm.
It has changed. It has changed. There's the
core-
cross progression. The fact that I don't have a Nintendo Switch account that's fragmented from my PS4 account. That's fragmented from, and I know this is a different thing, but it came with the free to play update. That there's one unified account for all of your Rocket League now is a huge difference. And they did drastically change how unlocks work, how Rocket Pass works.
Well, what was the
All right.
change to the Rocket Pass other than you bought it and leveled it up? Like, what was the big change?
I think it's the way that they removed an element of the gotcha mechanic where when you buy a blueprint, you know or when you're unlocking a blueprint, you actually know what you're getting. Whereas before there was RNG to it. When the game cost money. I'd say that the downloadable content microtransaction model is fairer now than it was before.
So
That's just for cosmetics, right? That doesn't change anything about the game itself.
like honestly,
Yes, but you've played that game. How many cars do you have?
I understand. I've played Rocket League. I understand how.
How
the
many
game
cars do you have in that game? How many different looks do you have for your cars?
I don't know.
People spend a lot of money on their cars in that game.
Right.
So giving them a completely new way to do that, I think, is material.
I want to argue for the social aspects, the social changes that I've experienced through Rocket League, because it went free to play. Like I'm now playing the game on Discord with a bunch of new folks that I haven't met before. It's kind of like what Bill was talking about earlier when he mentioned like he had friends that we would have never gamed with had Rocket League not gone free to play, and like I've really seen like that expansion happen. Like
But you could have been playing with these people on Discord prior to then. It was just, I mean,
well, there's
nothing
more.
stopped it.
No, because they didn't have the game. Because they weren't gonna buy it. Like
But then this argument applies to every game that doesn't cost money. Then equally, it's not any more special to Rocket League.
If Demon Souls went free to play, then all this stuff would happen to that too, right?
I guess the argument, Krabs. I'm just trying to process.
I don't see how that devalues it though. Like
it's a game that wasn't struggling that went free to play. Where other games they usually struggle, then they go free to play. This was the exact opposite of that happening. I guess that in itself is kind of what
especially in the
separates it,
MMO world. The MMO world tends to go free to play whenever
when they struggle, but Rocket League wasn't struggling. Excuse me.
So one thing I want to talk about in terms of like gameplay and just like the style of game, and this applies to several games here. Rocket League is a very specific type of niche, and like it doesn't take more than watching our Stimulus games streams to know that, because there are definitely people that get it, that jump in, that know what they're doing, that have fun, that enjoy it, that do the rockets, that do the boost. And then there are people that like they're not enthusiasts for it. It doesn't click, and there's just whether it's a lack of interest or a lack of understanding. Rocket League has a very specific style to it that
I don't know the barrier of
this.
Sorry, go ahead, TJ. Sorry.
It doesn't necessarily translate to a universal player. I would argue that Valorant is similar. One of the things that pisses me off the most about Valorant, and the reason that I stopped, and one of the things I really wish it would have learned from Overwatch, is that I hate the economy in that game when it comes to agents. Like, it takes so long to grind for an agent if you don't want to buy them. And I wish that they just made all the, like, sell your cosmetics, sell your weapon skins, but don't make me grind for 30 to 40 matches to get one agent that I can then decide whether or not this was a bad idea to buy this agent.
The grind in all these games is like, in all those types of shooters are just like the worst. And I know like Rainbow Six Siege isn't like a free to play game, but like that's like one of the big offenders too, is just the grinding in terms of like getting everybody and then to just see if you're wasting your time or not.
Yeah, I mean, that's a symptom of that game model. It's so present in so many games. But I do agree with you, TJ, on that. I felt the same way when new characters come out.
So, to its credit, and this is like, stay with me here. Genshin Impact is pretty much all available from the get-go. You don't need to understand something niche about it to get it, and explore it, and enjoy it. And it will help you along the way for what it's worth to continue to enjoy it for quite some time. It will try to get your money, but it's also super easy to just like understand and go at without too much like first-hand knowledge or grinding, like educating yourself along the way.
You know,
but I'm not going to be arguing for that one to win, because I think that the most important free-to-play game this year was Diabolical. Because, good God, the drought is over for Quake Arena fans.
God.
You don't have to play Quake Champions anymore.
As a Quake site, that warms our hearts.
There's actually a good Quake-style game to play.
Quake
That
Live
game-
was there.
Yeah, Quick Live is still going. I mean, how many concurrents? Arena shooters are niche now too, man. Like, how many concurrents does Diabolical have?
We wouldn't know. It's on Epic Games Store.
And
I can tell you though, its esports scene is more vibrant than Quake,
that's good.
and it's
That's
all
not hard.
grassroots. And it's
And
all
that's also-
grassroots.
that's
And
a low
we saw
bar
an
to
all-female Diabolical tournament this weekend. Like, we're seeing that the Quake community has moved over, largely because a lot of the devs of Diabolical were from the Quake community,
Right, and Quake
we're all
Live
kind
hadn't
of
been
supporting
updated.
them.
And Quake Live hadn't been updated in years, and so
Yeah, I
like,
agree.
making Quake Live work on a new system, it's a hassle. I'm gonna put it out there. It's a hassle to make Quake Live work in 2020 if you haven't already had it installed.
No, I agree. I think it's kind of funny that Diabolical lives on the store of a company that built Unreal, you know. But yeah, it's Diabolical's interesting because they were supposed to release it in beta this year, and they said, "Screw it, here's 1.0," and they're just going to keep supporting it as an ongoing game.
Because if you keep like going in beta and just like releasing a bunch of beta updates, at that point you're Fortnite.
Yeah.
At that point, you're Quake champions.
Yeah.
Nobody wants that again.
No,
Like after years of ripping on Quake Champions and like how bad it was, it's so refreshing to see that Diabolical exists and is good.
The Diabolical got everything right that makes a Quake arena
Okay.
shooter good.
Here's my question for you though, TJ. Is you're just talking about the barrier of entry for Rocket League? Like how massive is the barrier of entry for a game like Diabolical where you got to get good if you're going to be competitive? Like,
They have a
at all?
tutorial in it.
Yeah, but I mean, beyond the tutorial, like playing against other people online, right? Like that's the real challenge, right? Getting good against those people, not like learning the basics of the game.
I mean, there's
Like,
at least there's team games in it where you may get carried by someone.
Are there bots in Diabolical?
But you get
Yeah,
my
besides
point, right?
Accessibility, like you're saying,
any-
accessibility is a factor, right?
I'm
That's what you're
saying I'm saying any sort of competitive game, there's going to be like a challenge factor like that. That I feel like the barrier of entry for Rocket League and Diabolical are like basically the same. Like like I'm still getting good at Rocket League, even, and I've sunk hundreds of hours in. I think the same is basically for any game. You sink enough time into it, you're going to get good. So I think.
No, I'm getting progressively worse at arena shooters as I age. So there's no way that I'll ever get good at Diabolical, but I can pick it up and play it and be like, that's definitely Quake.
It's a relative term, right? Like
that railgun feels like Quake. That lightning gun feels like Quake. That rocket jump feels like Quake. Like they got the feel right. So yes, it is niche, but it is free. It is new, and it fills a void in an industry that desperately needs a good arena.
And that's my argument, is that's the part that I was getting at, is that yes, it is niche, and yes, there is a barrier of entry if you don't have those mechanical skills. But like, man, I'm so happy for Quake fans to have that. Like it was such a sad state of affairs to see what Quake Champions was doing to that scene.
It was sad 3 years ago, and now it's a different sort of sad. Like, just take it behind the barn, and yeah. I'm glad Diabolical exists for that reason too. Yeah, I think that's a good argument, TJ.
If we're talking accessibility, it should go to Genshin Impact for being so damn easy to pick up and play. If we're talking about filling a void and making an impact, I think Diabolical is maybe one of the...
I think if you just want like a battle royale shooter that you can just chill with, I mean, this is a good place as any to talk about Call of Duty Warzone and some of the things that they've been doing, and the way they refined the past battle royale mode. They've just said, we're going to make this a standalone free-to-play. If you want the Call of Duty experience without having to download a 200, 500, however many gig game that is, just get this, just play around or earn a few things. If you get shot and die, then try your luck in the Gulag, which is probably still like one of the most innovative features in a battle royale shooter so far. Is just the ability to, if you want back in, you must fight to the death. And I thought that was a really cool feature.
I'm glad you brought up Warzone, Ozzy, because I feel like when the battle royale craze was popping off, like the whole Call of Duty battle royale, it seemed like a no-brainer for franchises that would hop on that wagon and see tremendous success. But they tried it in 2018 with Blackout, and I don't know if you remember, but Blackout kind of sucked and nobody played it.
Blackout didn't grasp what made Fortnite great.
No.
Part of what made Fortnite great, we're still seeing it. Like we're even seeing like this week with Fortnite, is that they know how to keep evolving that world on a day-to-day basis. Like Fortnite now is not Fortnite what it was a year ago, 2 years ago, because that island and that world keeps changing. It's evolving. The island itself is a character, and the other Me Too battle royale shooters, like they didn't get that.
Yeah, and you can't like underestimate or underrate the work that Infinity Ward did and is continued to do with Warzone. Like they surprise launched that game, and since it's come out, it's gotten so many cool events. They're constantly adding new weapons and such to it. It's genuinely like fun, all-out battle royale chaos. I think it's like 150 players a match. It's an exciting battle royale to play, and you can see where they learned everything that I guess. Well, it wasn't them that Treyarch screwed up with Blackout. And I think making that game free to play is what kind of catapulted it to be what it was, because there was that $60 barrier of entry.
And
behind,
continuing to
Blackout.
support it, even as Cold War is coming out. And they're saying, Warzone's still going to be out. And Warzone is going to support whatever's coming in Cold War. Like, that's a great thing.
This is the first time that like a new Call of Duty has come out, and I can pull up my friends list on any like digital storefront, whether it be Xbox or Steam, and half my friends are still on Modern Warfare because they're playing Warzone because it's so good still, and they're going to support it throughout the foreseeable future.
I hate myself for saying this because Call of Duty mostly sucks it, but Warzone, it's solid. It's got the things I dislike about it are mostly stuff that I feel they pulled in to try to entice the classic Call of Duty crowd, like the constant barrage of, I guess they call them kill streaks in game, but things like UAVs and stuff that always show where people are, what they're doing, constantly giving you this just massive influx of knowledge that I think kind of kills a bit of the spirit of classic battle royale, but it works with the context of this, I guess.
I mean, I don't know, because I'm a big COD fan and I hate Warzone.
That's fine.
What do you hate about it?
Greg has terrible taste in FPS games, so.
No, like Greg gave it a chance because I remember we needed Greg to take some video, and like he dove in and it didn't click with him.
Hi, Bucky.
The problem I have with Warzone is like in Call of Duty game, I mean, it's a game of skill, right? And then when you spawn in a regular Call of Duty match, the person who's better is going to win all the time. The problem I have with Warzone, if you have two people of equal talent in the game, say they're both really good at the game, the person who finds the better gun or the armor is going to win. If the other person doesn't find armor, he's screwed.
That's the problem with all battle royale.
I mean,
That's
RNG aspect.
That's an issue of terrain control, man. You have to know the maps.
Yeah,
That's a battle royale
I
skill
had
in
no
itself.
armor plates, and I went from 52 people left to the final two with no
They
armor. in a
did.
match.
I also like the armor plates in Call of Duty because it alleviates that tiered armor thing that you often find in games like Fortnite and Apex Legends, where you get the purple armor, you're going to be in a better state against somebody who has the blue armor in Apex Legends.
The one thing I dislike about, I guess the same with Apex and Warzone, is I wish that there was a visible way to know the armor. Like, so when you're playing PUBG, if you saw somebody running around with that metal helmet, you knew that person, you were going to have a hard time putting a headshot on them and doing stuff. Versus Call of Duty and Apex and a lot of these others where you just kind of have to randomly shoot the person and break their Halo-style body-wide armor that's just magic, and it kind of sucks, but... I also think that Warzone makes for some interesting stories. Like, one of my favorite things one of my favorite experiences I had is that somebody called in a UAV and like could tell where I was, and so my kill streak was that I had a mounted machine gun, and I went to the top of the stairs in a building and set it up on a stairway hallway, and just waited. And of course, he just ran up the stairs, and I just let a rip down the hallway with that mounted machine gun. I was like, "You showed up to the wrong house, bud." It's things like that like you can make those funny little stories happen in Warzone. Yeah, I think the genre.
There's a lot of those
battle royale lends itself to stories and things like that when things work out well, especially get a group of people. Also, there's been times when we played PUBG where we've had rounds where we immediately get slaughtered and it sucks, and there's other times where there's just that bit of magic that clicks and you move to behind the right set of rocks to the right house, things go your way, popping left and right, and all of a sudden you've got a story you want to tell other people about for the next week or so, and that definitely can happen in Warzone, which I appreciate.
Ozzy mentioned it earlier, but the gulag mechanic in Warzone is so simple, but yet so inventive and like fun as hell. Like, I remember when they revealed that it's like when you die, you can win your way back. You can earn yourself a second chance by just winning a 1v1. It just throws you into a 1v1 with a random other dead player, and that again lends itself to story because I played games where like my squad landed and all 4 of us just got wiped, and then like 3 of us all won our gulags and we were just like back in it, parachuting into the match like for round 2. And
that's a good point, Donovan. But at the same time, though, like, what fucking sucks about the gulag is the goddamn random rocks. because that's not a game of skill anymore. If you get hit with a rock, you go,
The
oh,
rocks
and you're like, what? Outside
they don't
influence on a
move you.
1v1 match fucking
They don't
sucks.
affect aim. That's not true.
It sucks.
I don't know. I mean, personally, I barely. It's hard to hit somebody with rocks. That's like such a gimmicky thing. I don't know. You don't get.
Yeah, they
Can
don't
you go to the
damage
gulag more than
indicator?
once?
change your aim, and they don't give you damage. They
Can
do
you
cause
respawn-
noise. So like,
It makes you flinch, so you miss. In a game with precision is everything, and you flinch, you lose. You're like,
They
what the
must have
fuck? It'd be
taken
like
that
you
out.
playing
It's not in
someone
the
like
game now.
bumping you last minute and then moving you reticle. Like it's
It
annoying
does
as
give
shit.
you a damage indicator, Chris. Like it does,
Dude.
like shake your screen and turn it red on the edges.
but
so
it
you
doesn't
think-
make any difference on you getting punked by the guy opposite.
Can you go to the gulag more than once in this game, or is it
Just
just
once.
I think it's just
Okay.
once.
You get one. It's like one.
And there's a
duel
certain
where-
point towards the end of the match where they close any gulag entry, even if you haven't been in once. That's
Yeah,
usually
like top
the
20.
final 20. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just so you're not coming back at literally the end of the game.
The only other plus I'd add for it, which is completely not really, I guess, kind of like the argument you guys are making for Rocket League, where you buy the car paint you like and it makes you enjoy the game more or whatever. But I got my setup now, play with my buddies, and I wear an outfit where I'm covered in weed leaves, and when I get in my SUV, it turns into weed leaves. So when I press the horn button, weed smoke shoots out of it, and it plays the Rough Riders anthem out for everybody can hear it while we turn around through town.
That's great.
Yeah.
It's completely superficial and doesn't have any effect on the game whatsoever, but we are Rough Riders, and you bitches better
But
find it.
it lets you immerse yourself in it just a little bit more.
They have done some cool shit with the events and cosmetics in Warzones. I mean, they added goddamn Leatherface in Jigsaw for their Halloween event, which was
That's right. I forgot about that.
yeah, that was pretty cool as well. But,
This is a good category. I think.
Another free-to-play game. I'm gonna mention Ninjala came out this year. It's actually
I
pretty
wanna-
fun.
I really want to love that game more
yeah.
than I do.
It's fun. I don't know how much of a overall impact it ended up having after that initial launch.
I don't know. They had 3 million downloads or something, and they
Yeah.
continue
Did.
to support the game.
But it started
Like-
strong, but I don't think it's kept that same momentum.
That's what.
I
yeah.
don't think so.
I'm curious
I've
about.
always felt like the weapons in that game, there are some that are definitely better than others, and and that was one of the things that drove me away from that, is that I started to see an emerging.
I think
like-
it has one of the most enjoyable leaderboard carnage reports in any game, because there's
I
like,
agree with that.
like the end of the game, you don't really know if you've won until it counts out everything for you, and it's
Oh, that's cool.
kind of exciting. There's these like special things you can do mid-game that unlock more points for you at the end. So you don't, at the end of the game, a lot of the time you don't know if you've won or not. So it's like, it's actually kind of fun.
That was cool.
I wish there were more options in it, but I think the core gameplay of the game is actually very good. I love the art style of it too. And then I also like how they implemented their microtransactions. They don't really force you to buy anything if you don't want to, which to me is hugely important when playing a free-to-play game.
yeah, I think Ninjala might be the one I'm least familiar with here. Maybe the only one that I haven't spent too much time with. But I thought it looked cool. But I do feel like the conversation in that game fizzled out pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of why the free-to-play games that we've mentioned that aren't out of the conversation should probably are probably going to be front runners. You look at Warzone, you look at Rocket League, you look at Genshin, you look at Valorant. Like these games are still being played by a ton of people. In the case of the multiplayer games, they all have vibrant esports scenes. I think it's hard to ignore esports in this discussion. Because free-to-play opens your player base, and it opens up all of these community events that might not have happened otherwise. You're even seeing it with Diabolical, like there's $10,000 tournaments happening every other week. I saw Fatality hosted a tournament. It's very interesting to see how free-to-play affects a game's viability as an esport, and I think it's hard to ignore.
The most important thing about esports and free-to-play is that when you make the barrier of entry to your game non-existent, new talent will emerge, and you'll see some really interesting stuff. Like you might see some of your favorite players go down as like some kid out of nowhere just comes in and busts up shop.
Yeah, we covered that.
With some
A good
counts
example of
we
that, TJ,
Covered
is
that.
Zane in the Melee community. Zane saw the Melee documentary on YouTube and started playing it on Dolphin. And now he's the #1 player in the world, like 4 years later.
Yep.
There's a story like that that's going to happen in Rocket League. That there's some kid out there that's probably the best in the world that no one knows about yet. I think that those are exciting stories that are only really seen in free-to-play games a lot of the time, because that's like where the Cinderella story is born usually. And yeah, it's, to Chris's earlier point, it's not unique to any one of these games. All of these games benefit from that element of being free-to-play, but it's the magnitude at which the community benefits that I think we should be considering here.
Yeah.
Last one I have on the list is Legends of Rotara. You can watch our mobile segment because there's something much more to say about it, but just wanted to throw that on the list as well.
Card game by Riot.
To go along with the shooter by Riot.
You know what? I can't wait for that fighting game by Riot. That's gonna really
that should be really good.
Yeah, I'm gonna be watching for that.
I also forgot to throw out Helltaker, which we talked about in puzzle games earlier, but it is free as all hell.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That'll divide the waifu vote.
And it doesn't have any predatory microtransactions, which is nice.
Yeah, it's only just if you want a different looking waifu.
I think we are ready to vote, yes?
Yes, we are ready to vote. Let's start this horribleness.
I guess I'll kick it off. There are compelling arguments for all of these games, but it's going to come down to, man, I love being able to cast magic. Like, I'm a sucker for that sort of thing, so I'm going to vote for Spellbreak.
Okay.
I'm with Ozzy on that one. I'm going Spellbreak.
Okay.
Go ahead. Josh.
I don't think we really talked enough about why Spellbreak is as amazing as it is. We spent a lot of time talking about Rocket League and about Valorant and about how esports is so important and all, and like, that's fine. I know that's where a lot of you guys have passion. I personally don't give a shit about esports. It's just not my thing. But I think that the way that Spellbreak has taken the Battle Royale formula and kind of turned it on its head and brought that aspect of magic and just kind of changed the way that you approach the Battle Royale formula in that way is magical. Like, it's great, and that's where my vote goes.
All right, you feeling the magic? I'm voting for Rocket League. I love that game, and I really feel like at a time when it's hard to have a social life and engage with people, like, it's really helped me stay close with like dear friends and make a lot of cool new friends. So like, it's just out of all of these games, it's the one that I've played the most, if at all. So give it up for the Rockets.
I can comfortably say that it was close for me because I enjoy both Valorant and Warzone. But if I'm just gonna look at the impact that something's had on me and my social life and my gaming life this year, it's Rocket League. Like, there's nothing else that's been as impactful to me personally this year, and that's directly because it went free to play this year. So that has to be my vote, or I would be dishonest.
Okay.
Spellforce sounds neat.
You don't even know the name of the game.
Or what was it?
Spellbreak.
No, I said.
No, you said
Okay.
Spellforce. You voted.
I did say Spellforce.
basically-
One vote for Spellforce.
Wait, are you voting for Salesforce or Spellbreak? What's going on here?
I haven't played most of these games, honestly. Spellbreak is my vote. It does sound cool. Like, I actually like changes to the Battle Royale formula that take it out of the shooter arena. The same reason I know they're not free to play, but the same reason I like Tetris 99 and Mario 35. Spellbreak is one I actually want to try. Josh kind of sold me on it. But no, I don't play a lot of free to play games. So
Go download it right now. I want you to do that. I want
I'm
you
not
to-
gonna do that right now.
Like, man, I really wanted Diabolical to have this good thing. It is, in my opinion, very important. And props to it. But Spellbreak has been in my peripheral for a long time, and I don't know why I haven't pulled that trigger on that game, because it just like feels like something I. Look, Rocket League has been here. You can't call it a comeback. It's been here for years.
I
It's
just
not going
love it that
anywhere.
like you have two people here who haven't played a minute of Spellbreak that are like, Spellbreak, yeah, I'm gonna vote for, even though I have no idea if it's good or not.
Yeah, well,
Like it's just kind of bullshit.
Nobody is saying that Rocket League is not fun.
I'm just saying.
We've all voted
Yeah,
for games
I'm
we
not.
haven't
I'm not
played.
gonna vote for Rocket League because I don't really care for it.
Yeah, there's other games out there. If only we had weeks to prepare for this vote.
I've never played Animal Crossing, and I will continue to not do so, but I still love that game.
All right, so is your vote for Diabolical or Spellbreak?
It's for Spellbreak.
Okay. Chris, Warzone, or are you voting for Spellbreak?
I'll vote for Warzone.
Okay. Donovan.
I'm also Warzone.
Steve?
I'm going Rocket League.
Oh my god. Greg. Oh jeez.
I'm waiting for the day that Chris and Donovan play Gulag and they have someone dead to rights and a random rock hits them and causes them to lose.
Even if it happened,
That literally could not possibly happen. You just keep saying this to justify your opinion.
I have video evidence. You want to pull it for you and put it in Slack?
I mean, even if it happened, that'd be
It might have been patched out, Greg.
It'd be 1 out of 10,000 deaths in Call of Duty. I'd forget about it by dinner time. It's
And you're
not.
saying that it was not the skill difference that caused the death, but you tilt from being hit with a rock?
I'm saying in any game, one-on-one, outside influences is bad. Random, even if it's a small percentage. Like, remember tripping in...
Greg, just vote! Oh my god!
It's Spellbreak.
Bunch of fucking Harry Potter.
God damn it.
You're a wizard, Harry!
Garbage.
Spellbreak is our Shacknews free-to-play game of the year! All 4 of you have played it.